jungle. Who wants to smoke? I didn't think so. Use a joke, about to get your ankles broke. Chasing C notes. Chasing C notes. Welcome to the jungle. Who wants to smoke? I ain't think so. Use a joke, about to get your ankles broke. Chasing C notes. Dynasty.
Welcome to Chasing C Notes, a podcast. I'm your co-host, Sarek, and I'm always joined by my co-host, Larry. What's good, Larry?
What's going on, man?
You know how we do. We talk about the NBA, especially the Boston Celtics, and we didn't do anything for March. We didn't do anything for April. There was no playoff prediction. We were just really sad by what happened. Really sad. And, you know, I'm sure we'll get into it. But first, let me just tell you what we got on the agenda. We got NBA news. We got the Celtics season review. We got the conference finals matchup, our predictions, and then we have the Tommy points for the whole year. So we're going to end up with in a good note. So let's start with the NBA news. Steve Kerr is coming back to the Golden State Warriors. Are you shocked, or are you just kind of like, well, they haven't been good since 2022 when they won it all? So what do you say? You think this is gonna be a disaster, or you think they're gonna go out in glory? What do you think, Larry?
I don't even know why it was a story. I think it would be a story if he said he was leaving Golden State. I know that it came up that he was, needing a contract and that so thing, but he's been able to do a little. I mean, he's been able to do a lot with a little. They got Butler on a trade, and then you started seeing some of the magic come back, and it faltered a little. But overall, you got to give him credit for being a great coach. And I think it was really his decision whether he wanted to leave or come back. I think a lot of that happens when, even probably with Popovich, if he said he wanted to come back, he would have said, yeah, fine. But, it's just, I think it was his decision. And also there's such a great relationship between him and Curry that if Steve Kerr left, then you start thinking maybe Curry might leave when you think Curry's a lifer right now with Golden State, but it starts putting that doubt in the head. So I think that was just a way to keep the nucleus together. And they must have said something to Steve to let him know that we're not going to go for a rebuild. We're going to try to keep getting pieces to make this happen.
Yeah, I think you're right with the Popovich comparison, because after this, I do see Steve Kerr like maybe moving up in the front office somehow, and you're right. I do see Stephen Curry kind of like playing his whole career at Golden State. I just don't know if they're gonna be, with OKC being in that conference. I don't know if they're gonna be, contenders. Minnesota is up and up. San Antonio is definitely on the up and up. And then, Denver, I think, still got something left in the tank. So I think it's going to be hard for them to get into that top 4, top 5. But, it's like I said, just continuity. It's like everyone likes to see a familiar face. So, yeah, I'm not surprised they're going to keep them. The other set of news, Larry, Isaiah Thomas, and not that Isaiah Thomas, but the other one, the one that played for Boston Celtics, got hired as a scout. Is this going to be good or bad, or what do you think?
It's hard to say. We know as a player what he did. It felt like he knew he had the basketball gods, and they gave him a little bit of magic, and he used that during those couple of seasons to really just pour it into us. And it was a great couple of seasons that we had. We had a good run, and he started that run for us of being in the deep in the playoffs. And I don't know how he is as a scout. I don't know if he can see talent like that. So it's kind of wait and see. We've known great players don't always relate into either a great coach or great, whatever they end up doing in their next career. So we'll just kind of see what happens.
Yeah, I know he bounced around after the Celtics from team to team, like 10-day deals, and then I think he went to a college to coach. But I'm actually hopeful because us little guys in the NBA, they kind of have to be surgical before they the physicality comes in. So maybe he will be a good coach. I just don't know. But I like the hire. I don't know if he's gonna make it a big deal until he actually does something. So we'll see about that. The other set of news, and I know this is kind of hearsay, rumor mill, but the Giannis trade. Are you for it, against it? Would it be a good idea? Like, what's your thought into this whole, like, maybe they try to get him in the trade deadline, but they didn't, but now I guess they're in the mix. So what do you think?
I think the Giannis trade is good. The issue is that we don't know where he's going. I just think that it'll be better for the league if he's not with Milwaukee. I feel like Milwaukee has used all the magic they could out of Giannis. There's really nobody else you compare him up with that's going to make us think that team's a believer. But if you take somebody like Giannis and you put him on any of the 8 top teams on the West, it does make a difference. And I don't see Milwaukee trading him to the East, but if it's possible, of course, the Celtics have been in the headlines with that. And there's a lot of other teams that they could go with that. But I just feel effective-wise, kind of like, when Jimmy Butler moved to Golden State, I think if you move anybody that's a decent player to the West, it shakes the West up because everybody on the West in that top 8, you move one big player over there, and then it just makes you think, that they have a shot now because it was so neck to neck the last couple of years.
I know. The thing, first of all, I don't want any trade talks that involves Brown or Tatum. I think those two are untouchable. I know what happened this year, but those two are untouchables. Would he be open to being traded to the Celtics? I don't know what kind of package they would have to put together. I'm for it if they don't trade those two guys. I wouldn't like it if Brown got traded because, to be honest, and we'll talk about the MVP shortly, the season would not have gone the way it did if it wasn't for Brown. So now at the end of the season, you're just going to trade him for Giannis? I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I know that the rumor mill and the radios were talking like, oh, he's available. We don't know that. And Stevens hasn't made that abundantly clear. So I don't like that. I think, yes, it would be great if he came to the Celtics. I just don't want to trade Tatum or Brown for him. And plus, I think he's 28, 29, has a lot of injuries in the last couple of years. I don't know what he's trying to do, or I just don't know. But I will say that leave those two guys alone. The NBA MVP is going to be announced, I guess, tomorrow before the OKC San Antonio game. So who's your vote? Who do you think is going to win it?
SGA. I know there's been a lot of contenders, and which was good for the MVP race that we heard names, even like Brown being in there, But when you look at the total package of the entire season, who really made an impact, it still becomes SGA. Just the start that Oklahoma had, you have to give them nods. I mean, they almost had like a Golden State start the way they started. So I give it to SGA. I give a lot of props to Luka for his season. I give a lot of props to obviously the Joker, another great season. And that's about it. There's still a few people that we thought, but they kind of faded out. But I still give it SGA.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with SGA too. I think even watching him in the playoffs, putting 30, 25 consistently. I can't say that about Jaylen Brown in the playoffs. He was great in the regular season, kind of fell off in the playoffs. I still think he's going to get probably like second or third. But it's going to be SGA the winner, for sure. Not to take away from Luca or Brown or the Joker, but it's going to be SGA. Speaking of Brown, he just got nominated for the Social Justice Community Service Award. I mean, are you really shocked about this? I feel like every year, he goes into Boston inner youth and just, whether it's him being opening up a center for the youth, or like, I feel like he's involved in some way. So are you shocked by this?
No, I know. The first time I heard Brown speak, I think it was like an MLK game, and he got up there and started speaking. I was just like, oh wow, this guy is got multiple talents, and what he does for the community. And obviously, we know Boston needs something like that. It was huge, and so I don't know how close. I don't follow the social justice of the other players. I don't know how close Brown is to winning. But we know that Brown may end up 4th or 5th for MVP. But if he ends up 4th and 5th for this, that's an injustice, because he's done so much for the community. If he's got to at least finish in the top 2 for that.
Yeah, I mean, and he kind of like ingrates himself, because he taught at MIT for a couple of summers. He just I feel like he doesn't leave the Boston area. He stays. He has a store. Yes, it does have overpriced sweatshirts, but he's just there. He's just there, and that's what you want out of an athlete, like to just be present. Okay, Larry, this is tough, but we have to do it. This is the Celtics season review. It's kind of an autopsy of what happened. So, overall, I know we didn't win the championship, but overall, what do you give this season? Like, from 1 to 10, or actually from A, B, C, D, F. What do you think?
If you decided to go to sleep after Tatum's injury and then wake up at the end of the season, you would say that's a win, because you would have felt, hey, it's a gap year. There's no way they're going to be able to win enough games to even get into the playoffs, Tatum being gone the entire season, plus the fact that you lost 4 or 5 key players that were in your rotation. So you would say, okay, great job, guys. Wow. Hats off to the coach. They got number 2 seed. Wow. I can't believe that. And even with the pretty much collapse, I still think that the Celtics did really good. I wish the coach would have played more of how you got there, which is the bench. During the playoffs, and they did it like when they already were going to get blown out, and they put them in there. There was no way. They didn't have enough time to put things together. It was enough time to realize that was the issue, because they did play some of them in Game 7. But overall, it goes down to coaching. Every time, I think it was Game 2. When I saw Game 2 against Philly and the Celtics, something wasn't right. Something didn't feel right. And I'm not sure why the coach didn't see it, because I saw it. I was like, this is not right. I mean, Embiid wasn't even back. And I was like, why are we losing to these bums? And it just didn't make sense. And of course, that pretty much destroyed us, because if we had won Game 2, there wouldn't be a Game 5, 6, or 7 to even worry about losing. It just brought me flashbacks of being down 0-3 to Miami. It gave me flashbacks of losing 2 times to New York when we were up 20. So again, it just goes down on the coaching. And then of course, when he made the comment that Coach of the Year is not a big thing, to me, all those things just started going into my head. Like, no, coaching is big, mentoring is big. We all know that, and if you don't know that, why Steve Kerr is returning to Golden State and why all these coaches do what they do, I understand you don't want to take the oomph from the players. I understand that. You're a player's coach. I have no problem with that. But, take the award and go from there. You had a great season. You did something that no one would have thought you have done. But, like I said, I just feel like everything kind of collapsed in that Game 2. And then we saw, they won Game 3 and Game 4. The writing was already on the wall that we need a big man. And if we have a big man that's not going to get in foul trouble, then we'll be okay. And you saw the difference when New York put two big men in their lineup, what happened. Any one of those players that we let go, Horford, Cape, is it Cantor? What's the guy's name that plays for
Luke Cornett?
Luke Cornett. Any one of those guys, if we had, it would have made a difference in the playoffs when you're making a deep run. And I just think we didn't believe that we were going to make a deep run. And by the time we did figure it out, we could only grab what was available. That he didn't even play in Game 7. So,
what grade do you give the season?
I give him a B. I give him a B only for the fact that they didn't believe in themselves enough to get a legit big man.
Yeah, I might give them like a C plus, because same thing. Nobody expected them to be this good, this year. I sure did. I think I gave them like 30 something wins, and I think the over and under was 38. And nobody believed in it. But like you said, they did not have an inside game at all. And whether it was Garza, whether it was Bubacek, whether it was even Keta, I thought Keta was gonna make that leap and put up more than 10 points a game, which he was below average in the playoff. I think he just kind of tittered right there in between 10 and under. But losing KP, losing Horford, losing Cornett, like they all left because, to be honest, they saw Tatum get injured. They were like, we're not going to stay with this team. And it just wasn't enough. And I think Jaylen Brown definitely kept the games going, but you can see the writing on the wall from if Jaylen Brown did not have the game, that was a loss. Maybe there was some sprinkling of Pritchard there that he has some good games, but not enough that we weren't like counting heavily on Jaylen Brown. And that got you up to the number 2 in the AFC East, but I just don't think I don't think that that's going to be enough going forward. That's why I'm fine with them getting the Giannis trade, but I'm not there yet. You know what I'm saying? I'm not there yet. Like, we still need to like reload. Just get better players, get a better inside game. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the Celtics. I'm looking for the Celtics to rebound and kind of reload for next year. Kind of like, obviously we cannot count on the 3-point game all the time, because that's hit or miss. So I like to, let's talk about the championship year 2024, where there was an inside-out game. There was some kind of driving to the basket, but there was none whatsoever. And I know that Tatum, they were worried about the minutes. They were worried about, like, we don't want to overuse them. And, people say, like, even me, I thought that Tatum was back, but he really wasn't back. Definitely in the playoffs, because he's usually a streaky shooter, but he was just making shots. He never got in the zone, like they say. So that's, it's definitely a C plus. I wish they wouldn't bounce in the first round, but obviously Sixers expose them. You have no inside game. Drummond was getting away with murder. Joel Embiid was using Bubacek, was using Garza, and then Keta kept getting into foul trouble. So we didn't have an inside game. Period. That's what it comes down to. So I'm gonna say the C plus for the season, and hopefully they make some moves and bring it back. But I'm hoping that Tatum comes back to like true self. I feel like there was some times where he just didn't have that first step that we used to see him. It was definitely good enough against average players. I don't think it was great against really great players, but that's just me. That's just me. I thought that he was back, but he wasn't back. He wasn't back. Were you disappointed on anybody on the team that you were like, I thought that he would be better, or I thought that he would make that leap?
I feel like everyone on our bench made a huge improvement, huge leap. Obviously, we just talked about Keita going from 4. He was the fourth center to number 1. That's a big leap. I think what should have happened, he should have went from 4 to 2. We shouldn't have got rid of all 3. We should have kept 1 and made that person the 1, or found a way to trade that person for 1. But, obviously they gave Stevens the award. He did a great job with the GM and kind of holding things back. I feel like I gotta pick on White, and it nothing defensively, but just offensively, it started becoming too much of a story that he wasn't able to hit the long ball, and I think that took effectiveness away on the offensive side. So I would say, as far as White, it was a disappointment. On the defensive side, there was no letdown. He did his thing, one of the best, blocking guards that we ever seen. But he lost his counterpart. He lost his counterpart. He went to Portland, and so we know there was going to be a drop off there. It's just amazing. Like I said, amazing that those two teams. I can't see them going up against each other because they're both, Brown Tatum teams. Or even if you use a team that happened before Tatum joined, how would they do against each other? And like I said, the thing that it is the inside, that big man, and that's it. But yeah, I'm gonna go with White for me. What about you?
I was gonna go with Pritchard, but I think he did pretty well, especially when he came off the bench. But I am gonna agree with you and say that White, I don't know if maybe he had one good month throughout the year where he was just lights out, but White, I think that you have to, because I think when Holiday was on the team and they needed a basket, he would get the basket, whether it be a layup or a shot or, maybe go to the free throw. I don't know if Derek White had that in him. Everything else was great. The defense, the hustle, maybe he turned the ball over more than I wanted him to, but I think Derek White was definitely, especially when it came to the playoffs, he was just a no-show. Larry, I'm looking at the power forward, the free agents to be next year. And to be honest with you, I don't like any of these power forwards at all. The first one is LeBron James. He's going to be a free agent. KP's up there. Tobias Harris is currently on Detroit. He hasn't impressed me. I think he had one good game, but he doesn't impress me. Draymond Green, but he's 36 years old. But what is he gonna do? He's just gonna rebound, right? John Collins, Kuminga, he's with Atlanta. Did he have a good season when he got traded?
Kuminga played okay. He played okay. It's still something that's missing from him. He had some good games, even in the playoffs. He had some good games. But like I said, he was just up and down all year. I think we tried. Who was that guy we tried to get? Was it Bouchard or Bouch? We tried to get a guy that had that caliber style play. It just didn't pan out. And like I said, I just don't think anyone's going to give us a good power forward or a good center that we need unless we give up a lot. And so I think that we're going to have to go back to the well. And I don't know, I don't know what's in the draft, but we're not going to be able to get in there early. So you just got to hope that you can find, some type of unicorn in there, But I mean, especially when everybody knows what you need, it gets hard to negotiate.
It does get hard. I mean, I'm looking at the centers that are going to hit the free agency, and Isaiah, he's currently with OKC. I think they're going to probably sign him up again. Then you got Buvicic, which he was not good on defense. So Nurkic, Collins, Mitchell Robinson probably gonna stick with the Knicks. Then we got your boy Rob Williams III. He's only 28 in Portland. He's gonna be a free agent. Do they bring him back?
If they can do a package deal with Holiday, I'll take him.
No, Holiday's there. The Holiday's. He just got a contract and he got immediately traded. So yeah, I don't know. Let's see what Stevens does this offseason. But I'm still like, I don't know if I'll ever recover from the fact that we went out that way, especially with no Tatum in game number 7. That was bad. That was bad. All right, Larry, let's talk about the conference finals matchup. Let's talk about the West. Let's talk about OKC versus San Antonio. You went with OKC. I went with San Antonio. Why OKC, Larry?
Again, OKC has been there. They've had the experience from last year. We've seen them when they had a top seed and they faltered out. I think that's going to be San Antonio's learning lesson. Just them dealing with, they're battling through Minnesota. I think they're battle with Portland. Like, why are you messing with Portland? And so there's some of those things that they see. Yeah, everyone keeps talking about, they had OKC's number, though. They beat them 2-3 times. This is playoffs. This is, we go deep. They can really focus on matchups, not just one game. OKC was just going through games like it was water. So I think OKC, when you go run, even if you think about it, they had a deep run with Indiana. Indiana, I think, went 6 games. They went 6 with Indiana. So overall, OKC is still going to end up on the top if this goes 6 games. And I just feel like they're like we thought Boston was going to be. We thought Boston was going to maybe do a 2-peat, and go back to back like that. And they kind of faltered because we knew, hey, Brown and Tatum are at their prime. It doesn't matter who we put around them, we're going to win. And we kind of saw a little bit of that, but it's all about the big man.
Yeah, I'm going to go with San Antonio, but I just saw on the news that Williams is going to be okay for this series.
Yes.
But I just want to see Wemby and Chet go at it because they don't like each other at all. It's going to be a battle. I want to see the San Antonio guards against Gilgeous Alexander. I want to see them. I just want to see a good series, and if it goes 7, great. But I still want San Antonio to win. I just know that they're going to be the underdogs, so it is what it is. So, but I don't want Wemby to get thrown out like he did the other night. By throwing elbows. But I like this series. I think I'm definitely going to watch it for sure. New York Knicks. We don't know if it's going to be Cleveland or Detroit. You are going with Cleveland. I'm going with Detroit. Larry, why Cleveland?
I think it's a lot to ask for Detroit to win those 2 games like that. And they know your scheme. They know you really well now. You're in Game 7, and all you need is either Harden or any one of their top 2 to get hot. And I think it's going to be a tough run. I think scoring wise, they didn't do as well as they did in Game 5. But I think we all know Detroit went on a run, and that kind of shut things down. And we know Cleveland went on a run in Game 5, and that shut things down. So I guess whoever makes the biggest run, that would be it. Because we both know Cleveland and Detroit, they kind of take a little break on offense. And I guess whoever can hold up better on defense will end up winning the game.
I like Detroit not only to win over Cleveland but to win over the Knicks. I think Durant is finally awakened. I'm hoping that he has the same game that he had in Game 6, in Game 7. And really, Cleveland doesn't have anyone to guard Cunningham. I think he's going to be the X factor. If he feels like shooting threes or mid-run jumper and all that stuff, I think that Detroit is unbeatable. And, yes, they don't have that, they don't have that true three-pointer, but if Thompson stays in the game and doesn't foul out, I think he can be like the Boston Celtics Derek White. I think he can be all over the place. I just like physical teams, and Detroit sometimes is more physical than anybody else. And physicality against New York Knicks was, to me, I think they're a finesse team, but that's just my opinion. I think if you out physical them, especially Towns, especially Brunson. I know he's an all-star, but I like Detroit to win this series. So I know this is just fool's gold, but I want Detroit and San Antonio in the finals. I don't know who's gonna watch this finals, but that's the two teams I'm going with. You're going with Cleveland and OKC, so we'll see. We'll see how it shapes out. Larry, I want to end up in a positive note, and we're going to end up with the Tommy points for the whole year for the Boston Celtics. So who is your Tommy points winner for the Celtics all year?
I went with Pritchard. Pritchard was he was starting and he was coming off the bench. No matter what you do for Pritchard, he answers the bell. He's a player. He is a gym rat. He from when we saw him his rookie year, we knew he had something. It was kind of like, it was kind of like when we saw with Marcus Smart. We're like, oh wow, this guy's like in the gym. He's getting better, and he does the things that you don't think about. And there was a battle between them, and obviously, they stayed with Pritchard because they couldn't ship off the guy they wanted to, so they had to get rid of Smart. But yeah, I just think Pritchard has been constant. Yeah, he was up and down with his shooting. He was up and down with a little bit of his flow, a little bit. But I blame the Celtics for that. I think they should have put him more into the offense, gave him the ball more. Again, going back to coaching, I feel like even his second year, they didn't play him like as much as they wanted to. I guess they didn't really truly believe that he could make that it was just a fluke year in his sophomore year. And then he didn't get a lot of minutes. But Pritchard has always been there.
But do you like him better as a starter or coming off the bench?
I like him better as a starter. I mean, either way, when he was coming off the bench, when he was starting, he was still getting about the same amount of minutes. But I like him better as a starter. I think he can really get into the defense and open up somebody, because you see how they try to pair him up with a big man. He knows how to pass the ball and just get somebody open. He can make Embiid cross his legs and fall over. So I think it's a very important. I felt like he should have took over where Holiday left off. It's just, I don't know, what they were thinking. And then, the guy that we got rid of for our big man, and I felt like we needed in that Game 7. So it's kind of rough, when you make a payoff like that.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I've always seen him as a defensive liability, because when he's in the game, you can tell the other teams are like targeting him. They're just like, okay, let's post him up. Let's put the best player against him. So I do like the fact that he comes at the bench and he's offense instantly. I just don't know as a starter if it'll be a liability, or can you live with the fact that teams are going to target him, they're going to look for him. But overall, I think yes, he just got an extension. I think 4 more years, something like that, and he's going to get paid. just keep doing what he does. If he keeps winning the six-man award, so will be it. But he's just instant offense, and I like that about him. I like the fact that he comes in the game, he's just shooting threes from midcourt. It doesn't matter. My Tommy points for the year is going to go to Walsh. Yes, I know that he doesn't have the offensive numbers, but let's be honest. When you need somebody to play defense on the best player, you call on Walsh. He's going to be like white on rice. He's just going to be like, you can't get rid of me. And he was out there trying. I know he couldn't. It was hard to stay in front of Maxey, but at least he tried. More than you can say about anybody else on the team. And I think that he may not make the leap to a starter yet, but at least you can count that hustle plays. He's gonna dive for the ball. He's gonna strip the ball. He's gonna do whatever it takes to win games, and I like that about him. I hope he gets a contract extension because his rookie deal is maybe coming up soon. But yeah, I mean, I think that you need somebody like that. I don't know if he's gonna take the player exemption on the team, but keep going, keep developing, see where it leads to. So Larry, we're gonna do one more show. We're gonna do two more shows. We're gonna do our finals predictions, and then we're gonna do our goodbye to the season, goodbye to the 2025-2026 Celtics. Before we do that, what do you want to tell the fans out there, the true Boston Celtics fans out there?
Hey guys, we got more than what we expected this year. Patriots made a deep run. Celtics got to the playoffs. Let's put it that way. We weren't expecting that. Can't talk too much about the Bruins. Can't talk about the Red Sox. But hey, it is what it is at this point. I just feel like if we keep Tatum and Brown, our nucleus, it's not too much you need extra to build around that. So just remember that we know what we need. We need a big man, a trusted big man, but we can't take a big man that's going to blow up the entire team. So hopefully, Stevens understands that and he figures it out. And we've done a lot with a little for so long. So yeah, we got to just kind of figure it out that way. But guys, hold on. Obviously it's going to sting all next year. Because we knew we had a championship caliber team, and we were really just one player away from making a deep run. So, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think that we've made the playoffs 10 straight years, maybe 11. I don't know. I don't know what the number is. But, I know that I'm aging myself, but we don't want to go back to that 90s team where it was terrible. We never made the playoffs. We overpaid constantly. KG's not walking through that door. Paul Pierce's not walking through the door. We have two elite players on the team. We just need to get better surrounding them. Yes, it'd be great if Giannis came, but don't trade Brown. We've been in the playoffs ever since Brown has been in 2017. So,
yeah,
guys, especially the young Boston Celtics fans, it's okay. We got. Hey, listen, we lost a game 7. It doesn't happen often, but I feel like we can fix it. I feel like, Stevens, Mazzulla, they're gonna fix this, at least in the short term. I don't know in the long term, but in the short term. So let's not panic. Yes, the season was a failure because we didn't make the championship game, but like you said, nobody expected us to be here. This was house money, so to speak. So, and yes, the Patriots let us down, but it's a new season. And if you watch the Red Sox that you own, warning at your own risk. But it's gonna be a summer until football comes around. So I don't know what to tell you. Just be strong. Stop complaining. Get a hobby. Larry, you're bicycling.
Yep. Ecosystem. We went bike riding today. It was great. That's what you got to do to fill your day until the NFL comes. We got the Super Bowl coming in Atlanta pretty soon. We're getting ready for the World Cup now. So, we're trying to get the city ready, fixing up our roads and stuff like that. So it'll be here before you know it.
Yeah. It'll be here before you know it.
Thing with
overcharging
with the season,
fans. Overcharging fans, keeping no parking space, and they're not even calling it Gillette Stadium. They're calling it something else because there's, Gillette's not paying FIFA. It's just a mess. I don't want to talk about the World Cup because it gets me upset. So we're going to do this is episode 32. We're going to do 33 and 34, and then we're going to be silent until October, right? That's when the season starts? Or October.
Sounds like it could be soon enough. Yeah, everything will fade out with free agency and the draft. So, yeah.
Yeah, just relax. We had it was a disappointing season, but it was a surprising season. So it's going to be okay. Yeah. It's going to be okay. Just relax, pick up a hobby, and, soon enough, you let the team be let Stevens do his thing. Let's do his thing. I fully trust that Stevens is going to do his thing. So, with that said, I say peace. Hi, guys. Thank you for listening to this episode, Chasing Dino's podcast. If you have any concerns or questions, feel free to email us at simsportsmedia@gmail.com. And please subscribe to this channel, this page, whatever it is, platform that you listen. Peace.